As a landscape photographer, I know how much time and effort and money I put in creating my photos. I know how many hours I'm hiking in cold weather or in the rain or in the heat. Maybe I'm hungry, maybe I'm wet, maybe I'm cold. So it's a lot of effort that goes into creating those photos. And that is why when I come back home and open those photos in Lightroom or Photoshop, I want the best viewable experience as possible. That is why a professional monitor for photographers is something that every photographers should consider. And I know these monitors are not cheap, but neither the photographic gear that we're using it's just like buying a good lens that will improve your workflow and your photos. Technically, it's the same thing with a professional monitor. A couple of weeks ago, I received a message from the BenQ marketing department in Europe asking me if I want to test and review one of their professional monitors for photographer, and that is the BenQ SW271. And after 5 days after that initial email, this monitor arrived. Before this monitor, I also had two BenQ monitors, a 23-inch and then a 27-inch. They were both Full HD, but they were simply consumer monitors. Now, compared to those two monitors, the SW271, it's a different game. It's something completely different. You simply can't compare it because the experience that you're having with this monitor, it's absolutely fantastic, and you can see this just from the moment when that big box arrives and you see the attention to detail. This monitor comes calibrated from the factory, and you also receive a certificate explaining all the details about this calibration. It's a 4K 27-inch monitor, and it's packed with all sorts of features. These are some of the main features that I think are most important for you as a photographer. So it has 99% Adobe RGB coverage and 100% sRGB coverage. And if you're wondering if your eye can tell the difference between these two workspaces, the answer is yes, it can see the difference. Now, if you're looking at an sRGB or a full Adobe RGB, you don't seem to see the difference. But when you are switching between these two profiles, then you clearly see the difference between these two, because the sRGB doesn't have that much color and that much details in the color. It also has an USB Type-C input. It's HDR ready, so you have a profile that sees HDR. You also have a profile for black and white photography, so you can simply see better your photos in a customable black and white experience. It also has a feature that it's called Gamut Duo, where the same monitor, it can display two color spaces. It also can display Adobe RGB and sRGB, just to make a comparison between these two. The stand of the monitor is really nice crafted, and you can easily rotate it left to right, or you can move it up or down. And the IPS technology that is built in this monitor allows you a really wide angle to view the picture clear. It's about 178 degrees to have this image clear from almost any position that you are standing. And you also get a hotkey puck that you can use to quickly switch between color modes. Now, if you are the kind of person that needs to do this, then this is very useful. If not, like me, for example, then you can simply use the monitor's menu, which is very easy to use. It's very intuitive, and you can switch the color space from there. After working about 2 weeks on it, here are my opinions on this monitor. I really like the fact that it's 4K. This resolution helps you to get lots of workflow space, of working space, especially in programs like Lightroom or Adobe Premiere. That this is a very important thing, because when you have all sorts of options on the screen, you need a lot of space to place those options, and usually you end up using 2 monitors. Well, with this one and 4K resolution, I don't think that I really need 2 monitors. The only minus with the 4K resolution, I think, it's when I'm preparing my photos for the web. My photos for the web have 1000 pixels on the longer side, and on the 4K monitor, this photo looks really, really small. Another thing is that even the monitor came factory calibrated, I ended up tweaking a little bit. For example, I work from 5 a.m. This is my working schedule. I'm awake at 5 a.m. and I start working, so it's pretty dark, and the brightness of the monitor was at 35. Now I had to lower it until it reached 15 to be manageable for my own eyes, but this is a personal preference. Now another thing that I tweaked was the sharpness. The sharpness of the monitor was set to 5, and I felt that the photos looked too sharp, and that sharpness was not the true sharpness of the photo. And because I'm a photographer and many people will see my photos on all sorts of devices, I want to get the photo looking good on as many devices as possible. And that is why I took the sharpness from 5 and lowered it to 2. I think it's a much more close to true display. The viewing experience, the actual experience that you are having when you are there in front of the monitor and you are looking at your photos or your videos, it's a really good one. I mean, this is the first technological gear that makes me smile when I'm there in front of this monitor. I think the BenQ SW271 offers a really great experience in terms of what you actually see. I mean, everything is sharp. The image looks so good. In comparison to my old BenQ monitors, this is like, I don't know, those monitors were here and this is up here. It's as I said in the beginning of this video, it's a completely different game. There is something that I always say, especially during my workshops, to people that have IMAX, for example, and have that Retina technology. The moment when the monitor enhances your photo beyond to what that photo really looks like, that is the moment when you kind of lose something as a photographer. It's good for the general consumer because the image that it's presented to him or her looks very good, but you as a photographer, you need to be real. You need to know exactly what you are doing. So the image that you are seeing on your monitor has to be the image that arrives on other people's monitor, and not everyone will afford a monitor like this. And that is why you need a monitor that's closest to reality as possible. You can get fooled and you don't edit your photo because you simply look at it and you say, wow, it looks great, when in fact the photo doesn't look that great. And that is one of the strong points, I think, of this monitor. Even though the image is enhanced, it's not enhanced over the top, and you don't get too much carried away by the look the image looks only on that monitor. So in the end, I encourage every one of you to try out one of these professional monitors for photographers. You will see that the experience is nothing comparing to normal consumer monitors. As I said in the beginning, I know these monitors are not cheap, but just like buying a good lens to produce a good photo, you also need a good monitor to produce a good photo. Because, for example, if I analyze the time that I spend in front of a computer compared to the time that I spend on the field photographing, I spend a lot more time in front of the computer editing my photos and tweaking them. So having the ability to produce the best results as possible, I think it's really great. Now, you also have some links in the description of this video. You may check out the product more. And I hope you really like this review. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. And until next time, keep on photographing, because it's the only way to get better. Bye-bye.